Hello, everyone. How are you today? It is Monday, April the 8th, and I hope you all had a great day today. I spent half of my day in the air, flying back from Canada. I was one of the guest presenters at Nanny, excuse me, at Nanny Jamboree in Vancouver, Canada. And I would just like to thank Adele and Emma for having me. I had an awesome time. And um, thank you to the ladies, the nannies that were there. Hi, Alicia. Thank you for welcoming me, for making me feel welcome, for uh, including me in all the things that you all were doing. Um, it felt so good to just, go to a room of just nanny sisters and just get enveloped in all the love. Anyway, we have about, let's see, 4 days left before International Nanny Training Day. So, if you have not signed up, please go and do so. Nannies that live here in Dallas area, hello. I need you all to go and sign up. We have 15 tickets left and we want to sell out. So, Dallas Nannies Rally, we want to sell out and have a great time. Hi, Donna. How are you? Hi, Pam. Hi, Mary. Um, so, if you have not signed up for International Nanny Training Day, please go and do so. We are having training day all across the United States, and I think in 3 different countries. So, go sign up, be there. And hi, Julia. How are you? And so, before we get started today, I also want to tell you if you need to find out where the registration is, um, go to nannypalooza.com and there's a list of all the cities that are having International Nanny Training Day, and we're also having it online. So if there's not an International Nanny Training Day in your city, you can sign up and go online. So that's just an option. But let's get started. Let me find Miss Donna and invite her on about traveling. There she is.
Yes,
Hi.
I made it.
Great. Hi, Lori. Um, so tell us a little bit about yourself outside of the nanny world.
I don't think I have a life outside the nanny world. Um, I think I do on my private time pretty much what I do on my nanny time. I travel. I've got my 50th
Uh,
coming up, so my husband and I and Louise Dunham of Australia is going to join us, and we're heading to Budapest and doing a few countries over there and together, and then we split eventually around Antwerp, and then she goes back, and we go to Munich for an audio show. So on my private time, it's either my boys in Brooklyn or is taking that time to travel myself.
wow. I want to go.
I have a very big suitcase.
I just, I just need this much room to show me in the suitcase right there in the corner.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to ask all the nannies who are watching to please share this video with your friends, with your groups, so that everyone that needs this information can come and watch and get some tips on traveling. Because not only does she travel in with the kids, but she travels on, like she said, her other life too. That's what I like to call it because nanny life, it takes a lot of your, and
Yeah.
it seems like when you finally get time for yourself, it's like it seems like a whole totally different life. So I call it my other life. So tell us, what made you want to become a traveling nanny, or did it just fall into your lap?
We got an echo here, so I'm going to see if I get my earphones on in a minute. But if you can hear me okay, that's all right. Um,
Are you
Basically,
watching?
yeah, I'm trying to turn my earphones on because I'm afraid this is not going to work because I keep hearing the lag and the echo. Now say
Oh,
something.
okay.
Okay.
Can
See
you
if,
hear me?
yeah, let me see if this is better. Um, yeah, the um, I was all my life, I've kind of had this roaming career. I started off, in business because in high school, I wasn't planning on going to college and I had no idea what I was going to do to make a living. Uh, so my mom made me take typing. So when I graduated, basically all I had was typing skills, and I remember her paying for me to one of those employment agencies to get my first job. So I started out in business, which, as I look back, everything I've done has, led up to being successful in what I do now. When I got bored with that, I was in LA and I took a job with the roller derby as a PR. And worked with people going teams that we'd put in different countries, all the red tape. When I got tired of that, I volunteered in a school because I had unemployment at the time. And so for the first time in my life, I could just do what I wanted. I was there so much, they eventually hired me as a teacher assistant. And this one, I kind of found my true love that I not only worked with kids, but my specialty was, if I had a talent, so to speak, was that I understood the kids who were out of the box. I understood the hurting kids. Understood the low achievers. I mean, we just had a kindred heart. So when my husband went back to school, we went to Kentucky. Everywhere we've moved, I've never had the job that I did in the other state. Got to Kentucky, no difference, nothing for what I did. And I had to go back to school to help him through school. So um, I got a job as a teacher assistant in a school for delinquents. And that was an eye opener because you have all these hurting young boys and you get an understanding of why kids are hurting. We want to think, oh, delinquents are just bad or they come from bad families or whatever. But we don't understand them. And I think I did. So once again, it opened my heart to another aspect of what to look for in children or how to bond or what was going on. He got out of school. We went to New York, nothing for what I did and reinvent. And I needed a part-time job just by my kids, so I could always be home when my kids were home from school. And fell in with the Rural Migrant Ministries, working with farm workers and the rural disadvantaged. My group and I, we were small. We never had enough money. We were grassroots, and so we eventually started a camp for migrant and rural kids at the end of summer because they couldn't participate in other things because of summer school and the camp is still going 30 years later. Moved to godforsaken Florida. Sorry, Florida. Um, Nothing
I love
there.
Florida.
No, you can have it, darling. Nothing there for what I did at all. Dinosaur in terms of schools, in terms of childcare, everything. But I took a job as a supervisor for a big church. And when I just couldn't take the politics anymore, I quit. Very nicely, always leave on the high road, as we say. And when the petitioner says, "Could you come and be my nanny? I heard you're leaving." And I'm thinking, nanny? Don't be a babysitter. It's no respect in Florida. You're talking also 20 something years ago. Now let's understand that too, in all fairness. And but my husband said, well, go talk to her. I thought, well, if they pay me what I think it deserves or respect, I would think about it. And she took my salary, which was high for Florida, you know, crazy if we look at it now. And I found, wow, one of the girls was had some learning disabilities. They were four kids that were trying to kill each other all the time. So the
Oh
first thing I did
no.
was, how do you make peace? How do you get these kids to cooperate? How do you tone down all the sibling animosity? And I found once again kind of a little bit of a household management here and there. And I really found once again, this is what I'm good at. And I'm good at getting everybody settled and together on the same page and making a difference in the family life. When that ended, I took a job for twins, and by this time I'm thinking, wow, I kind of like this career. And did one of my twins had Williams syndrome. So once again, you're learning about learning disabilities that are rare, how to help it, how to think out of the box to help a kid, a young boy who's his biggest thing is fear, how to stabilize for walking. So I built him out of a pipe stuff. I built him a railing thing that he could hold on while he walked, because his main thing meeting, I realized the reason he was hesitant wasn't not his ability, but because of his fear. And
Okay.
so once again, when that ended, this thing called the internet came out. That's how old I am. And when the internet came out, I saw all these people all of a sudden advertising, online. I mean, like a real profession. And at the same time, I hear about this thing called INA. They have conferences over somewhere in Florida that year. So by this time, I wonder if there's a market. My kids are grown. And I asked my husband, I said, what if there's a market for a travel nanny? Someone who just goes and works temp, holds the family together so they can hire somebody, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, all of our life, I've moved you. I go to work, no big deal. You're the one that has all the adjustment. If you hadn't married me, you would have seen the world. So this is your time. So he said, go for it. Of course, I'm sure he didn't think it was successful, but it worked. And I wrote about 99 emails saying, hope you found the perfect person, but if you haven't, maybe you need someone to hold you over while you look. And two people that were in crisis, family answered. And when I did those jobs, I knew if I could do those, I could do anything. And then I went to the INA conference, and with Kim Dillon, we were asked by Sasha out of Nannies and More of Atlanta to do a workshop about specialty nannies, because that time Kim was probably the first high-end NCS. There was really nobody that much around, before that. And she would travel and she'd go to agencies and so forth and she always worked through agencies. And so she's going to do this workshop with me. So I'm thinking, I've been in business 4 months. I do not know what I'm doing. And so I thought, it's okay. Kim will carry it. I'll just go with the flow. And I get there in her little sweet Texas accent. She goes, Miss Donna, she said, I'm very shy. I'm an introvert and I'm not really good at talking. So you just run the thing, honey, and I'll just do whatever you tell me. I go, Lord of mercy, we're in trouble. But we did it. And, it took off. And then after that, she recommended me to a job up in newborn job up in Connecticut, because she had to leave and she just didn't have enough time and they wanted to extend. And I went up and I was with them off and on for like 3.5 years. And I did travel the world with them. So my learning to travel, how to do it was with them. And it was good training because they were both high type A. They're like the Energizer Bunny, but 3 times
Yes,
energized.
I have one of those. Yes.
And if you all know, yeah,
3 children all into one.
right. If you know fund managers, you know what they're like, and the high tension, the high stress. I learned a lot on that one. One of the first things I learned, and I want to pass this on because people ask me, what are the qualities you have to be a travel nanny? What do you need to know? And I realized that travel nannies today, probably for the most part, get hired to show up, be with the kids, do hotel when they're, the whole shebang. And that's pretty much it. And then they could, they have to adjust to the parents, they have to adjust to the children, but that's the limit of what they do. And that's never been my situation. I don't ask for the added time, added things, but it finds me. And the first thing I realized about these people, I mean, I'm thinking, oh, they're pros, they're well-known travelers, blah, blah, blah. But of course, now they're traveling with kids. And after the first 2 trips, I think we went to St. Bart's and next year was France. And after the first 2 trips, one thing I realized, parents, just because they're asking you to travel with them, just because they seem worldly, does not mean they have got it together. And if they don't have it together, it creates stress with the family. You got stress before you even get on the plane. And the one thing with their time management skills were like the pits. And so, we got to go from Connecticut to JFK to fly. We're racing along the thruway every single time. He's all stressed out. We're not going to get over. We're going to do, we're like the family that rushes in with their suitcase. They're first class, sure. Well, they are. I'm not. And we're rushing. I mean, it's a mess. And everybody is stressed out. So when the 3rd trip came up, I talked to my boss and I said, we got to talk. because, he wants to charge all the chargeables. Back then you had the DVDs, you had all the things. You didn't have iPads, you didn't have all these things you have now, but you had cameras that had to be charged, everything, charge. He would wait, till 10 o'clock that night. And his famous thing was, I can be ready in 30 minutes packed. Of course he wasn't. And then the next morning, he's been up since 3 that morning. It was crazy. And so I just set her down. I said, we got to talk. So I said, the main problem is that I have the kids and me packed 2 days ahead of time because, if I need to add something, if you change your mind, we're done. We can just, quietly add. I'm not stressed. If I'm not stressed, my kids aren't stressed. But if you're stressed,
Right.
we need to get you all packed at least a day ahead of time. So if we're leaving on Thursday, you really need to be packed by Tuesday night. Because I know at 10 o'clock Wednesday, I'm doing CVS runs for all the things they forgot, medicine, suntan lotion. I mean, I just waited. Oh, we got it this time. Okay. And I knew 9 o'clock. Can you go to CVS? So she did. And she was all done. She was really proud of herself. So we told him, you have to be packed. I said, well, then, and I just kid him. And I have a way with guys and with, men, probably because I'm older. So I can say things maybe some 30-year-old couldn't say. So I keep that in mind, that it's just my personality that can do it. And I don't necessarily recommend it to everybody. But I said, well, that's really good. Then you'll be ready in no time, won't you? So let's charge everything up, get everything out. But I want to see everything charged and packed tonight. So he was going to prove us how good he was. That night he gets out, and 4 hours later, he's packed, everything's charged. He said, I told you I could do it. I said, that 30 minutes turned into 4 hours, didn't it? And if you had done that tomorrow, and we had to get up early, and I said, the other thing is, you call the driver at 6 o'clock because you think, okay, we take so long to get to the airport. When you have all this luggage, and Lord knows we had enough, then we need to allow an extra half hour just to pack. So I make the reservation a half hour earlier than normal. Sure enough, we got everything in the car. It was all packed, and we were actually ready to go on time. Everybody's calm. And we're in the car, and he's starting to say, well, da-da-da-da. And she said, I have my Zen. Don't bother me. I'm all peaceful and calm. You can't ruin it for me. And I looked at him and I said, Mr. Jim, if you're happy, we're going to be happy. So, let's just, he always called me his Pollyanna, always looked at the positive. So that was my first example that as a travel nanny, you've got to take a good look at your family. You look at the qualities. I mean, recently I was with the family and we're all getting stuff in. We're family and I know my father's an anxious traveler. That's why he's got me. Get everybody in the airport, park the car, getting ready to get into there. And my woman boss says, where's the other suitcase? What other suitcase? You didn't take the one down from upstairs. You didn't tell me to take the one from upstairs. So we're reminded, do we have to have it? Yeah, because it has all the diapers, all the kids stuff. They have no clothes if you don't bring this down. So, once again, something can blow up on you. Now, maybe it's not my job, but my job, I see as a travel nanny, is to make sure my family have good memories, that the things that go crazy end up being the funny ones, but not where it just puts a bad mood. So I said, look, here's what we got. You're only 20 minutes from the house. We came here plenty of time, thanks to you, because you like to be prompt. It really helped today. We're just going to go in. We can check us all in. You go get the thing, and we'll meet you at the gate. You got your passport? You got your loading pass? Yeah. I said, okay, we'll meet you there. We got it covered. Don't worry about it. So he takes off. I get her in. Since he's not with us, it's calm. And we get the kids in, and it's a little tricky getting into one of the things with our passports and stuff. And once again, is that my job? No. They card me. They should have all the tickets and everything in order. They should know what they're doing, but they don't. And so I take one look at her and I said, why don't you give me all the passports? Let me get everything. You take the kids over there. Let me put everything through. I got it. I know what they're doing. I know why they're doing it. We're fine. I'll call you over when they need to look at the kids. And so that calmed her down. She got it done. By the time we're done, we see him come running in. And, he's nice and calm now. I said, see, it all worked out, didn't? Well, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? I said, we don't need to concentrate on what we didn't do. What we're going to concentrate on from now on is what we did right. And thing is, we're here, we're early. It's going to be great, right? And it was a
He's-
weird. I'd been traveling with them before, so I did kind of know them. And that was the year we traveled. It was a vacation from hell because the little girl had she had all these anxieties. My good traveler was horrible, wouldn't let her mother out of her sight. It was a nightmare most of the time. And I'm busy defusing kids, saying, no, we're not going to do this. Do you want to have a fit? We'll go up in the room. Dad, don't worry about it. I got them. They'll get over it. You all go do something. And family, the very end, things started calming down. The kids got it together a little bit. We're sitting around the pool, and the dad asked me, he said, have you ever traveled and never went back with the family again? And I said, in 20 something years, I've never ever turned somebody down for the second or third or fourth or fifth time. You got me forever. And I told him, I said, the reason I would travel with you anywhere, anytime, I told him how I love the way he cared about his wife and how point of vacation was to give his wife a treat because she's a stay mom. And I said, I really admire that about you. So you've got a husband who's uptight, you've got kids that are going you're normal, they're not in their normal self, and so you always have to stop and think, what is the reason? And eventually I figured out what her problem was, which made it easier to have a heart about it. What is not going to change anything, but I began to understand. And I always think of Dr. Ross, that thing when you got kids, when things don't go right, to always remember every child is being as good as they can at that moment. No child wants to see you upset with them. No child wants you angry at them. Even though you may think they're doing it to make you angry, at that moment, that child's being the best they can be. And that's what you have to keep in mind when you travel, because you can come up into all sorts of situations. One of the things that I tell nannies that like to travel, yeah, you might have that ideal family. They're private jet, don't go through any airport stuff. You don't have anything. It's a piece of cake, and God bless you, glad for it. But those aren't going to be mine. I have been on private jets, but for the most part, I have the adventure travels, and I can remember my family in Australia traveled, back and forth for time. I would fly all the way to Australia, stay a day, help pack, readjust, and we'd all get back on a plane and make our way back, and with different stops and so forth. So do have jet lag and things like that. And I think every blog's going to tell you what you already know. And when you're flying over long hours, how, like I'm talking about 8 hours or more, stay hydrated, make sure your kids stay hydrated. And if it's really a long one, make sure you have snacks. That first family I said before, internet and all the other
yeah,
stuff came out, make understand. I don't care how good I've been on Emirates. I've been on some really nice airlines. Doesn't matter. Whatever, no matter how good that kid meal is, chances are I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to eat it. And a hungry child is a miserable child. The Connecticut ones were
yes,
easy because I was always in charge of their meals, so I always know how to make healthy things. And so we would bring little containers of green beans and peas and things that they could finger food out, ham rolls and cheese rolls and all of that type of thing. So when dinner time came, they had a really healthy meal. We had snacks that were healthy. And my Australian kids, I used to say, now you're talking about, a lot of travel, daytime changes, everything going from Australia. We had so much food, and they laughed the first time when I asked them, and I said, at night before we're looking at stuff, and I said, what do we got for snacks? I got this. That's not going to be enough. They're going to eat their way across the ocean. And as
yes. They
long as they have food, let's keep it down where we control what type of food they eat. Or because we get in some airports, we're going to be able to get something to eat, maybe, but maybe not. And so let's anticipate. When you get to Maine, and you can have it, during your family visit. So I always tell, nannies, I don't care, look at what parents are giving you. And even though that's not your job, that's their job to provide everything. I always ask, what are you bringing? What do you have? What do we do? Can I see the itinerary? Can I get a copy of the itinerary before we leave? I want to see when we take off. I want to see the seats. I want to see everything. And the reason for that, because you think, well, they have a travel agent. Travel agents can screw up so bad. My Australian ones, I learned after the first time, thinking they had it down to a science. No, horrible travel I look at United the night before, and I'm going, we have no seats. We had no seats at all. And I am popping stuff into the computer. I had to do them freaking flyer numbers really fast for everybody. And I was popping those numbers in. The computer would accept it, and then 2 hours later they pop back out. Um, I'm looking, what are we going to do? We cannot get to this airport and have no seats, not for 5 of us. And we're all in coach. Um, Once again, no, that's not my job, but it is my job because that's my reputation, that I'm going to get you there from beginning to the end. It's not just about the kids. Like I said, I don't know if anybody else has this type of crazy thing that happened to them. So I couldn't get it to cook, couldn't get it to click. The family, I went on, trying to hold on, and the girl on the phone did it. 2 hours later, it's off again. I Facebooked, message to United. Look, here's my situation. I have a father spent a lot of money here. And, I don't want him all stressed out. I don't want the ticket person to have to go. What can you help me with? Within an hour, he not only had answered me, he had bumped our tickets up to Comfort Plus for the aggravation, and also to make sure our seats were better. And we got $700 for each seats basically. And
Ah,
and they took. But this is the thing, you've got to make sure that I look at itineraries all the time. The family I was telling you about, we were coming back from St. Martin's, and St. Bart's, but we were in St. Martin's for transfer. And once again, the flight got canceled. And now when they get canceled, how many seats are they roaming? Because they're going to put you in another plane. That one's booked. And I said, look, if they've canceled that flight and they're putting us on this other flight, they're going to be mixing people together. You notice we don't have any seats. We need to get there as soon as we get off this thing. We rush down to the gate. I'm at like the first one in line to talk to the customer agent. People are going up behind me. And I told my boss, passports, you go sit down, because he's pissed already. He's already, TSA is going to kick us out if he gets a hold of them. So, you just kind of spread on that Southern charm, and you just tell the ticket guys. I said, look, I know you guys must be going crazy today, because I know when these things happen, you guys really have a hard time. But I've got these 2 children. At least I have to be with them. You can put the parents anywhere. He looks up and he goes, gosh, you're the nicest person. He goes, you know what? I can put everybody in first class. That I do have seats for. And he said, wait a minute. Oh, he used miles for your ticket. Well, yours will have to go. One of you is going to have to go back and coach. I said, no problem. Give us what you have. Even though I don't like kids in first class, because it's stressful. If they're acting up or whatever. And remember, this was not the easy vacation. And so I told my father, he's impressed. And I looked at the mom. I said, well, one of us have to go back and coach, and sit all by themselves. She goes, me, because she saw, the stressful trip. She finally got, the time to be by herself, read her magazine, look at a movie, no kids, no eye contact. And once again, like I say, it's not your job. But this is why I ask them for itineraries, and I look for holes. I look for anything that I can see a potential problem. I had a client who, first time she booked everything, first time I traveled, we were going to Spain to meet up with a cruise. And I said, oh, this is really cool. I had never met her before, didn't know anything about them. You're winging it, right? And you're bonding with the child as fast as you can. And find out, she says, oh, yeah, we only have an hour layover in Pittsburgh, or Philadelphia, we're going to meet my parents. I go, really? Oh, don't tell me I did something wrong. I said, no, it'll be fine. Got on the plane. Doctor got done with the surgery. Got on the plane. We sat. Dry lightning in Florida. We're gonna miss it. And you're gonna miss it. So I'm kind of texting her, saying, I know I'm talking to my mom. We'll see what we can do. We get there. We race there. We do make a different plane, because ours is gone 10 minutes afterwards. But once again, if I had known her and I had asked ahead of time, these type of stories can go on and on and on and on. So what I'm saying, as a travel nanny, what's your best asset is learn how to read itineraries. Look and see, is there enough time for changes? If it's not, you can speak up early. You can save everybody a lot of headaches. Do you have seats where they need to be?
yes.
And keep track, because 48 hours before the flight, keep looking, because computers can pop you off if they've changed, different types of planes and the seating changes. So even though they're not going to know you have a child. Um, so, if I can stay in front of everything, I'm going to relieve it. The other thing is that, like a lot of people, I've met my kids in airports, and knowing when we land, it's a celebration, and I'm going to have that child with me all night. They've got to like me, so they don't scream bloody murder when mom leaves. I've met kids
Right.
at their hotel. I met 4 kids, in St. Barts at the hotel because my flight got canceled. And, you're bonding as fast as you can. So I would say your biggest aspect is, if you think you want to do this, is ask yourself, one, are you fearless? Two, how well do you bond with kids quickly? I mean, really quickly. Can you look at a child and can you look at the family's maybe sibling dynamics? Can you see that, kind of get a handle where they're at, so you know where you're meeting each sibling? And more important, how good are you as parents? I don't care if you're the best person in the entire world with children and they love you from the time they say hello. If you don't know how to have a rapport with adults, so you can make suggestions without, being misinterpreted, because you're with these people 24 hours for 7 to 12, 14 days, sometimes 21. And, they're couples. They're going to have spats. They're going to have little things. And when you see that coming, can you feel it? Can you say, I'm going to take the kids away for a minute. We're going to go do something outside. How do you give
Right.
parents space? How do you anticipate that? And can you, if they're cool to you, can you know it's not personal? If your feelings are easily ruffled for you, because even if they are pissed at you for doing something, my first thing I tell every single client we start out, look, we're going to be as good as our communication is. I am not thin-skinned. You don't like the way I'm doing something, you don't like the way I'm talking to kids, you don't like the way I discipline, because I kind of just take over the moment I get there. Once I see how the dynamics are. And I've also talked extensively with parents beforehand. How do you deal with your children? Tell me, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I want to please you. I want to make this a wonderful memory for you. Don't worry. I'm not going to pout. I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to learn from whatever you tell me, and I'm happy to. Um, so that's the other quality I would say you have to have. The last thing, and I'm just going over, and feel free for anybody to ask questions, is that if you do travel, once again, hopefully if you want to do this, you've traveled yourself a little bit, because it takes some of the naiveness out of it. But obviously I hadn't. I'd only traveled overseas once when I was 20. So you can learn by the seat of your pants too. Um, know your airports. Every airport has a map online, every terminal. So if you know you're going American Airlines and you're going overseas, you can kind of see where the international one is. You're going to be there early, right? So look around. Where are the kid spots? Every airport has one just about nowadays.
Yes,
So
they
that
do.
you can walk around and enjoy the kid spot, play and do some stuff and get some energy out. Um, and that's just the other thing. When you have a very young child, people say, how do you handle long flights? I want the energy out as much as possible. And hopefully we've got the flights where it's going to coincide not too far from food and things. I mean, once again, this is parent, but we've let our kids crawl all over a filthy airport, up and down, all around. Why? Because we have wipes. And when he gets done crawling, we're wiping hands, wiping things. Before we get on that plane, we've got him wiped down, cleaned up. But guess what? He has crawled his little heart out and he has his energy. Now, if they walk, of course, it's easier because you walk up and down, up and down, up and down. Sitting still and playing games with them is fun. But guess what? It's not going to get the energy out.
That's right. That's right. All right. I've traveled with families before, and it's like you said, you gotta let them get it out,
Mm-hmm.
because if they don't get it out before they get on the plane,
Right.
they're all over the place. I flew back from Canada this morning, and there was a baby on there, and honestly, I wanted to go help her, but I was on the inside seat, and there were two people over here, and the plane was full. And I wanted to go say, because I know with my own son,
Mm-hmm.
at the elevation that we were, And even myself, I have problems with my
Pressure.
ears.
Mm-hmm.
And most parents don't know that they're not screaming for no reason. They're
Right.
screaming because they're in pain.
Right. Right.
And that elevation that it takes to get up over those mountains, you can't just fly, like we
Right.
normally do. You got to go a little bit higher
Right.
because you don't want to hit the mountain.
And it goes
And
fast,
you
so you don't always have time to do a gradual according to where you're traveling from. And the higher the altitude, besides the air pressure, although if you're in a really big jet, those pressures are better and better nowadays, not like it used to be
right.
so bad. But it's also, if you're on a long flight and it's a high altitude, is dehydration happens really fast. So,
Yes.
kids don't
And
always know how to say,
problems.
I'm thirsty. And
Yes.
and
Yes.
that also
They
helps the ears.
Right. I always ask for water. I always
Yep.
ask for something to drink, and I chew because
Right.
my ears are still stopped up.
Yeah.
I may not sound loud enough to you because I hear myself in my head
You got the
because
ocean
my
going.
ears. And when I got off the plane, my husband was like, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you." In my head, I was screaming,
Yeah.
and there's all these people around. I'm trying to have a private conversation with you. I don't want everybody to know, but
Right.
he couldn't hear me because
You
I
didn't
was still
modulate. You couldn't modulate your voice.
right. But I could hear because my ears hadn't popped. And when we start descending, it doesn't bother me going up.
It's the coming
It's
down. Oh,
coming
that's the worst.
down. They kind of pop going up, but coming back down, it's like little minions are inside of my ears, is going ding 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 ding
Right.
ding ding ding,
And
and I'm like, oh,
yeah. With children, one of the ways, like it's okay when they got past Barbara about. I mean, most parents, oh, then the pastor about when you get older, what do you do? And one of the things one of my clients taught me, I mean, the kid taught me himself because he had really bad ear problems, was that we always carry a bag of gummies. Gummies take a lot to chew. You know how gummies are, how hard they are to chew. So when you're coming down and you're chewing gummies continuously, you're popping. And it helps a lot. And it's something that little kids will do. They will eat a gummy. And you
oh
just,
yeah.
I don't care. Get sugar free for God's sake if it bothers you that much. But, you can, I mean, I can only take so much of this
At that
properness.
moment in time, and it takes 30 minutes when they said we're coming into
Yeah.
a landing, and it's another 30, it's like 30 minutes beforehand, and they say I don't know if it's triggers in my brain, but it's like we start slowly and
Yeah.
then it goes down a little bit more. And every time they hit another level, it's like a new sensation comes in my ears. And I can tell when we continue to go down and continue to go down and continue to go down because my ears just started going like this. And by the time I hit the ground, I'm like, just let me off the plane.
Just if
Just
you
get
remember,
me off
gummy
the
bears
plane.
next time, just chew your little heart down all the way. But that brings another thing. It's not people always think about the ear thing because that's a pretty common thing and mothers and everybody's pretty thing. But the other thing is you have a child that gets a little motion sickness or car sickness, it is probably going to happen. Believe me, I have been covered in vomit. I have been covered in just water spit up, because I have kids that get motion sickness. One of the things, if you know this about a child, it doesn't take it, even if you don't know for sure, but you've just noticed in car rides, they, get a little queasy. There's those little wristbands and they have like a little button here and it presses like an acupuncture on a certain point. And I keep some of those in my purse if I'm not sure how the kids are. And if they start saying something, I'll say, here, put a bracelet on. And that acupuncture keeps a lot of the motion sickness down amazingly. And of course, if you have a
Now,
really
what's
bad one, there's other they're motion sickness and they're little like a terry cloth hairband, but in the middle of it is like a little button. And the way it
okay?
sits, it pressures a certain part and that affects the motion sickness. So it's
Ah,
great for kids because you can't always get drugs, you can't always give something even if you have it, because if that
right,
child's never taken it, you don't know what their reaction is going to be. But this is
right.
safe. It's an acupunctural type of thing. And amazingly, I have a little girl that throws up all the way across the Pacific. And once we discovered those, Charlotte had a much, much easier time. And
Wow.
and the other thing
Because
is,
I just,
get the drink with the electrolytes and stuff like Pedialyte, like things like that. I'll have my kids drink some of that are prone to motion sickness. Keep those electrolytes, keep everything up a little bit longer.
ah, Oh, so electrolytes and
Yeah.
the
There's
motion sickness
yeah,
break that
there's little tablets you can throw in the apple juice, the orange juice, or the water. Some of them are citrus flavors, some are plain. And like we always travel with water bottles because you can always have a stewardess fill a water bottle up. And
right.
so my thing is, the game, how much water? Oh, everybody bring the water bottle up. It's 3 o'clock. Who drank the most? We have a contest and we'll mark it whoever, where they stop and we'll see. So if it's a contest to drink water, you don't have to fight them as much. Now it's true. Water will make you pee. So when you're traveling 9 and 10 hours and you're getting 16 to 30 ounces down, but keep in mind, this is also a positive thing. Yes, you got to drag kids with little tiny, oh gosh, the airport bathrooms down are ridiculous. But you have, every time a child has to get up to go to the bathroom, what are they doing? They're walking, they're moving, which is good for the circulation. It's safer for you as a grown up to keep that walking in your legs, not to be too, a long flight to sit down. So walking and peeing the way that nature reminds us to walk. That's the way I think about it. And
Right.
I don't know if other people travel nannies out there, but I've traveled with 2 kids, and a lot of times I'm in the back and the parents are in business, and I like it that way. When they can't see the parents, my kids are so good. I'm so trained. If mom's around, it's whine sometimes. But
You
every
are
nanny knows
so
what I
right.
mean, right? Everybody knows.
Yes,
So
know
you got to
exactly
go to
what
the
you
bathroom. You have a kid in diapers, maybe a 9 month old or whatever, and you have maybe a toddler 2 or 3 who's in big girl panties or she's okay. But now you got to go to the bathroom. Well, you got to take everybody because you can't leave a kid in the seat, right? And maybe you
right.
have to go by that time. When you go there, you better go too because that might be your last chance. So you're in that little tiny one that's got the pull down. So you've got to be able to put a kid on there, change that diaper, keep the other one here, you here, and then when it's done, you basically have to pee holding a baby and holding with the other one, and it's a really tight fit. So I would tell you before if you're going to travel with 2 kids and one of them's in diapers, practice your yoga before you go because you're going to be in some bendy situations.
Get it all out.
Get it
Okay.
all out. Get it all out. Um,
Yes.
so those are just, I mean, a lot of those to me are common sense things that people say. The other thing is, and once again, I think you guys, everybody out there that travels very much, you said you travel with children. I'm sure you have the same experience and have figured out the same thing just from thinking. I'm a planner. I always think, what if? So I have I try to get the small backpack or a small nanny bag or something. I don't want anything too big that's going to be underneath my seat. Now, say I have a child here on one side and a child on another, which is pretty normal for me. I rarely get to travel with just one child. Um, now, I do Ziploc plastic bags, and I'll put like a diaper, a change of outfits, and wipes, seal it. And if I want some books, small books, it's in the bag, seal it. If I have toys, little finger toys, or things that I'm going to hopefully to amuse them with if they get fussy, in a bag thing. Everything's in a little bag. So what happens when you're on that plane and the idiot in front of you has that dumb seat down and you have this much space to regulate and help your kids? Now, if you have to go down and pull a bag up and try to find it, it's not easy. But if you have things like that and a baby needs something, maybe just to wipe something off their face, you can bend down, feel that bag by touch, you'll know what's in it, pull it back up, and
Right.
then get it out and take care of things. Having it neatly stacked in your diaper bag is not going to cut it. If you're in coach and it's small and the idiot in front of you is determined to pull the seat down. But I think
Right.
most people figure that out probably anyway, but it's just in case you didn't think of that, anybody. That's how you save yourself on a plane. Be
Well,
organized.
I know another thing that I do is, and I tell all my parents, if you have a toddler that's between 2 and 5 year olds, and just get the Ziploc bags, put a whole day's put an outfit,
Hmm.
underwear, box, put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the bag.
That's right.
Put it in
And just like
this.
it would be instead of a
That
diaper, you got toddler clothes.
right. And that way they get to choose what they want to wear, because at home they get to choose what they
Right.
want to wear, not what you want them to wear. Well, they get to choose from whatever's in that bag. And then at the end of the day, you got dirty clothes, put them back in the Ziploc bag and they don't
Right.
contaminate the rest of the clothes. So
There's
I like to pack
yeah, yeah.
away.
So you're saying in the suitcase itself, so make sure that everything's compartmentalized. So when you do it, and also when you're
Right.
home, if they're helping you pack, they can say, okay, what do you want to go with this shirt? Which pants? Here's your two pants. Which one? The more kids are empowered to help themselves and be part of that packing part, the easier they are. The other thing about that, I'm going to throw this in. I used to do it all the time. Now it's a little harder because my parents all the time, I meet them somewhere and they've already packed everything. You know, I literally meeting them there. Um, but if you're, and it's okay if you're just have a one stop, you're going to go to the beach or you're going to a resort, anything that goes out, it's easy to see what you might leave behind, blah, blah, blah. Now, once again, my experience is a lot of times I travel with parents, we have 4 stops. So every time we stop, we're 3 days here, 2 days there. And you and I know that some of those parents have really expensive children's clothing. And
Yes, because the parachute.
you are terrified of leaving anything behind. So what
Mhm.
I've done is, if I get to help pack, it's a lot easier. But if I don't, when I get there that day and I see what we're going to take out for that particular stop, I take my camera and just take pictures of it. And then we go and do our merry thing. 4 days later, we got to repack. I look at my camera and make sure that everything on my camera I'm putting back in the suitcase. And if
That's
I
a good idea.
don't have one, then I start searching because sometimes that they do, they take it to mom's room and they've stripped in there. And I'll ask mom, do you have that in there? Because I don't have it before I tear this room apart. And she, oh yeah, yeah, I think I do. I'll bring it over. Thank you. Uh, but you don't leave anything behind. I mean, I personally feel, and I know most travel nannies say, "With too bad, so sad." Parents deal with it. I feel personally responsible with
Too.
whatever I take and what I can't. And if I feel like I have lost something and it's been my responsibility, I feel like I need to reimburse somebody. So I know a lot of people say that's not necessary, but this is the way I think of it. This is what my reputation is built on. That I make it right, and if I can't, if I did something wrong, I'm still going to make it right. Um,
Right.
I realize a lot of people tell me that's terrible. You know, that's their part. You know, they da 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 da. I don't care. You know, I know what they pack. I know what they do, and I'm responsible. That's the way I see it. It's easy on one stop, but I travel with a lot of parents that I might have 4 or 5 stops on one vacation, and that just
Yes.
saves me. Quick little picture.
And it's so simple and easy. You
Mm-hmm.
you take pictures of everything else. Why
Right.
not?
Right.
And you can once everything's packed and everything's secured, you can easily
I
just
just delete.
delete the
I delete it
camera and
I delete it as I pack it,
right,
and then the picture
right.
that's left over, if there's one, then I start looking.
Okay, we have a question. What are your thoughts on using iPads during vacation?
Okay, this is a common question, and I know I have been on boards where people get hot about this, and I'm going, really, really, this is what bothers you. Uh, number one, you're on vacation. And if that kid's always on their iPad at home, that's not your problem either, if you're a travel nanny, because you don't deal with that. But then he's certainly not going to go withdrawal on your time. You're not there to change everybody's, habits. The other thing is you've got 6 to 8 hours, 9 hours, or even 5 hours to a small child. It's a long time. Uh,
Right,
iPads are good. I mean, a lot of times I don't have any choice what they've loaded. I carry my own fire. And on my own fire, I have books. I have appropriate games from all different ages. They have their iPads. I have my fire because my fire is my backup. Because what happens on their iPads, a lot of times, is things they've had there and, it's not new and things like that. Hopefully, the parents have downloaded something new before they go. But I don't have any problem because a lot of those games, like even like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, they know how to do those games and matching
right,
games and things like that. And I can use that to, as I'm working with them, like, oh my gosh, how do you play that? I get to know them as I see. And the other thing is when you're watching a kid play on an iPad, you're a travel nanny, you may not know this kid from ever. Like I say, I meet my kids for the first time many times in the airport or at home for the day before we travel. Um, Most people don't, but that's my luck. What happens when you watch a kid on an iPad? What do you learn? I learn about the kid. I watch
yeah,
how they play. If they get frustrated easily, I know what to look for in terms of how long their tolerant level is. If I see it, I can start. Next game, I'm going like I can even say, that seemed like it was a really frustrating game. Do we want to try to go to something else? No, I want to finish it. I'm going to redo this thing, and I'll go. Okay, this is fine, but this is Miss Donna's rules. If you're going to do it, be prepared to win and be prepared to lose because that's how you learn. But we're on a plane, so let's make it fun. And if it's not fun, then maybe we need to choose another game. But I am fine with you playing as much as you want as long as you're having a good time. But if I see you're not having a good time, let's talk about it. So I will learn the personality of my kids. I also get a chance to, probably the first time, to assert my authority. So, because I don't take any nonsense when I travel. And I will tell kids up front, look, the thing is, I might seem strict, but I'm responsible for your safety. And if anything happened to you, my heart would break. I wouldn't be able to stand it. And I need to know that you listen to me. So sometimes it may seem silly, but if you obey me in all those things, I know if I see a car coming, if I see somebody get ready to shove into a pool, I can yell at you and you're going to stop dead in your tracks because you're used to listening to me. That's called safety. So this is why I'm not being so strict. I just need to keep you safe. So it's not
Right.
personal, it's not anything else. And that's all it is. It's about safety. I don't make too many rules. It's out of the lines of safety. So to answer your question, I don't have any problems with iPads. Now, with all the TV entertainment on the airplane, a lot of times they'll put their iPads away and do something new on the plane. That's probably the worst. That's the most bothersome because a lot of those are touch on the plane and there's someone sitting in front of you. And sometimes you ever done a touch TV on a plane, doesn't want to go and you got to poke it. Well, I
And
don't
you,
need the poor person in front of me getting boom, 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 boom. So personally, I think
yeah,
iPads are better. The reason I carry my fire, if we do have adult time, it is a long time, I'll bring my fire out. And I said, if they read, I said, you want to read a story? Because I've got stories for every age and every imagination. And sometimes they'll do that. Sometimes I'll say, do you want to play a game? Well, I've just happened to have some kids' earphones with me because sometimes what they bring is crap. And, we'll put some earphones on and you can play a game. It's something new. They're excited, because they've never, and in fact, when we get to a resort, a lot of times I got poor kids and they're all battling over my fire. So we say, okay, you have 15, 20 minutes. And when their time's up, if you give it up nicely, next time around, you have another 20 minutes. But, and it's funny. They've got all these expensive things and they'll come back to my fire.
it's the simple things. Kids don't necessarily need all these extravagant things. It's the simple things that
Mm-hmm.
make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're given all this stuff and they like all of this stuff because, ooh, my friends have this and ooh, but when they're on vacation and they're not around their friends and they're bored with what they have and you have something new,
Right.
that's all they care. It's
That's right.
something new. Never played this before. I don't know what this is about. Show me. And it's one of the simplest things that you're like, okay, this is just ABCs,
Right.
but it's in
They've
a
never seen the game
new.
before. They've never
They
colored in. Those little coloring apps are great because you got to know your numbers and also the toy doodle we make. Some of my kids make the most amazing designs. We just crack up. They are amazing. So there's things like toy doodle. It's amazing. It's simple. It's free. The other thing I want to make one more comment about how do you feel about iPads or anything. The other reason, anytime you work with children, it's easy to think of yourself as a grown up and they're the child. But if you really want to be empathetic, if you want to have a lot of empathy, which is what makes you successful, I think, in travel, is I want you to ask yourself something. You're on a 6-hour flight. There's movies in front of you. You're grown up. No, you don't have any kids, but you're traveling. What do? You gonna tell me you sit in that chair for 6 hours and you don't watch that movie? No, you watch the movie, right? Well, why are
right.
children why do we expect children to do something different than what we would do? If we need to be entertained, they need to be entertained. Now, when
That's
I
right.
first started, we had no such thing, and we got a little portable DVD, and we bring, one or two movies, but on a 10-hour flight or something, that the thing's going to die down at some point. My kids would pack, and I missed this really quite a bit. but they would pack in their backpack. Anything they wanted to bring had to fit in their backpack, or they couldn't bring it. But my little girl loved her Barbies and her dolls and her clothes and things like that. She'd have stuff. He loved all the little trains, the little men, da 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 da. Once again, baggies so they don't get lost. And I do warn them, if you bring it, if you drop it on this floor, it's a good chance we're not going to pick it up. So don't bring anything too small. But she would sit there and she would have her little imaginary stories. You hear her talking to a doll or talking over here, entertaining herself. He's got his little men going around there, and I can just sit there and go back and forth, say something, or just let them go. I
Right.
miss kids when they got to be creative in that seat. If
Yes.
I'm doing coloring, you can do crayons and stuff. But once again, those silly things do have a tendency to fall on the floor. The other thing, is just painting with water on the pictures. Those pens, those are great because they're not messy.
Yes.
There are a lot of
Yes.
arts and crafts that aren't messy and things like that. Um, I I think successfully is a combination. We have things like that, and we also have according to their age and so forth. But a lot of times too, guess what? The parents have already set the mood. They've already set the perimeters. I'm not there to judge them. If that's my parents' perimeters, my job is to mold to them, not them to me. Now,
Right.
if I do see behavior things on the trip, and I'll be working with a child on those very gently, and we do make a lot of progress. Mama say, how do you do that? Or, I'm so frustrated with him. I just, I'm really watching you because you have more success. And I said, well, it's because I'm new. He can only do so much with me because if he doesn't, I might not like him. But guess what? He can get away with a little bit more with you because you have to love him. And that's why children will push you more than they push me, because it's
Right.
important that you don't set yourself up better than the parent. You always want to empower your parents as much as possible.
Yes. Always encourage your parents. Always empower them. And well, how about you try doing this with them, or how about you try doing that with them, and see how that works for you.
Right,
Not, well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. It's all about the wording. It's how you say it to them and how you communicate
right.
to them. Communication is key, very key.
That and
Now,
being the optimist, because we that one with the dry lightning, we made it to the plane, and we did make it to Barcelona on the different plane. But guess what? Our luggage didn't. So I had put, when she gave me the little thing to carry on for the boy, and I'm going, there's not enough stuff in here. So I had stuffed like 8 more diapers in there, and like you said, a couple change of clothing and stuff for him. And which mean the bag I had took all my stuff out and put it in my suitcase and used my bag for him. This is what she gave me. I go, oh no, I could see the danger signs. So we get to Barcelona, we don't have luggage. And they said, we'll bring it to the the ship later on that night. Well, my clients are the ones that bring tuxes and elaborate dress ups and stuff like that. And the first night's always the captain dinner. They don't get to go because all we have is like travel casual clothes. We're eating hot dogs and hamburgers. My father's not happy. But and then they said, well, look, it may not come really late, just put your clothes out, we'll wash it, and we'll bring it back to you. They gave us all like a sleep shirt or something from the ship. The trouble is they're way up on the pit deck, and I'm down here in the junior suite now with my kid on a different level. What am I going to do? Run up there and give them my clothes? What am I going to come back in? I'll be naked. So, you
right.
know, I picked out one or two out of the shop that luckily fit me a little bit. But the next day, our luggage did not come that night. Next day, oh, we're going into port. It'll surely be there. No, our luggage for some reason went to Czechoslovakia. For 3 days, our luggage did not come. Now I'm getting down. It got to the point, a little boy, we're going like, we don't have to change his diaper. He can be a little bit more, little fat, chubby butt. And we're thinking like, oh my gosh, we're not even pulling into a port that you can get off and find paper mache or nothing. So it's not like you just, and then the cruise ship had nothing for babies. No formulas, no diapers, no nothing. That's how
Wow.
long I've been doing this. So I'm thinking to myself, we got to have diapers because the next day I know we're going to go in where I can get off the ship to do a supermarché stop. But we got to get through that night, the next morning, and until we get to the port. But it'll be here tomorrow. I'm going, yeah, right. When? So I told my clients, I said, let's just walk around. And I want everybody to look for little babies like him or toddlers with big butts And we're walking. He says, Donna, I can't go up to someone asking for diapers. I said, no, you can't. But we're not asking you to, not am I? Just keep walking, keep looking. We get down to the one place, and I see a little boy with just about like him, this little butt about the right size. I'm looking, I look at my father, and I said, why don't you and your wife go? Why don't you guys go and get a drink or something? And me and the boy, we'll just stay right here. Okay, so he leaves, and I tell the people next to me, go, oh, your little kid's so cute. And we're talking back and forth. Yeah. And I tell him my sob story about what happened to our luggage. And the father goes, oh my gosh, we could give you some diapers for get you through tomorrow. I go, oh, really? So he runs to his room and he comes back with 6 diapers. His wife gave him a dirty look, but he gave me 6 diapers. So by the time my father goes back, I said, look what this nice gentleman just gave us. Isn't that sweet? And he always said, he just kind of smiles and shakes his head. So the next day I'm determined, no luggage. And then we go into port. So I'm taking the stroller from hell, I called it, because the old strollers were so heavy. And I don't know how much you all know about Europe, but when you get up to Europe, a lot of times you come into port, you're at the cliffs above you. So if you can get into town, there's the big steps that go up and down. So I look and think, oh my gosh, I've got to get this stroller, because my parents are off on their tour. I've got to get this stroller up all these steps. And so I see 2 little French guys over there. And, I figure I'm a helpless American, right? I'm just so helpless. And I go over there and I look at the stairs, trying to push. He goes, oh, mademoiselle, da, da, da. In other words, can we help you? Oh, oui. Carries my boy all the way up like a chariot. He just thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. And eventually I found the supermarché, because every language, I may not know how to speak it, but I know left and right and straight and that type of thing. Find it, we get the diapers, we come back, and I go bump, bump, bump down the stairs, which is okay, which he thought was hilarious. I'm sweating so hard by the time I get back on the ship. And at 11 o'clock that night, we got our luggage. So
Finally.
what I'm saying, well, this doesn't happen to normal travel nannies. But if you want to be in this business, what I'm trying to explain is that be optimistic. You cannot be down when something tragic or something terrible happens, or your little world is going to get penetrated. You have always got to be a problem solver. And
Right.
just think out of the box. If you're not a problem solver, if you're the type that's going to complain because things don't go right and your parents didn't tell you about this, travel's not like that. You never know what to expect. So I'm
Right.
saying that the best travel nannies, and I know some great ones, they're optimistic, they're happy, they're problem solvers, they get along well with grown-ups. They of course are good with children. That's kind of a given. You wouldn't be in this business if you didn't like kids. And that you have a lot of empathy, because some of your kids, how can I say this? Some kids aren't likable at first glance. They're selfish, nasty, stubborn.
Tell me.
My one little boy said, he wasn't, he were 4 kids, and he was in the middle, and his thing was opposite. I call him my oppositional kid. Oh, if you said the sky was blue, no, it's not blue. Okay, it looks kind of gray. No, it's not gray. What color is it? I don't know. I don't care, but it's not blue. All right. Oh, I like the way you did that. That was you did a good job. No, it wasn't a good job. It was a horrible job. I did terrible. And I remember putting my arms around him or on his shoulder, pat, pat, and I go, okay, Miss Donna, remember, let's not tell blah, blah, blah. Let's not compliment. We won't compliment no more. And then I whisper in his ear, but it is really a good thing, So we go through this whole vacation, and my oppositional kid, and everything's a battle, but I know I'm making tiny inroads. What happens when you don't see big ones? Because you're not with them long enough. Towards the 3rd day, the little boy, we're all sitting around having lunch by the pool, by the villa, and father goes, so who likes Turks and Caicos versus St. Bart's? My little oppositional boy, who I'm thinking probably hates my guts, even though I'm trying my best, but I'm still firm. I don't let anybody walk over me just because they're hard kids. He looks at me and says, well, St. Bart's, because we didn't have Miss Donna in Turks and Caicos, and she's much more fun. And we're all just sitting around the table going, because we know this is the kid that doesn't like anybody. So, and I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying that sometimes when you're meeting these kids for the first time, some are just lovable and likable and great. Some families you walk into and they do the sibling rivalry is just, you got to do something about this. And but you got to do it in a gentle way. You've got to do a way that first look at the children. Why is there so much rivalry? Is it just the age difference? Is it too close? Um, is one kid really smart, though he just knows how to push the buttons? Um, you've got to first look at your kids before you judge them. Otherwise, you're going to go into there, and after about 5 minutes, you'll go, "Oh my gosh, how many days do I have left?" Um,
Right.
I see it as, once again, as a challenge. Every child is being as good as he can at that moment. So how can I make him even better? If you don't have that ability, if the good kids we can all like, but how good are you with kids who don't seem that happy at first? I mean, now this kid and I are great. I've been traveling or going to the house for 3 years now. He's great, but um, that's part of a really important. I think every good travel nanny I know has the same thing. They're very emphatic. They can really um, understand children from the inside out. They understand kids are a little bit out of the box. Um, and you got to love a kid where he's at. If you want to
That's
have a great vacation, and that's your job, is to make sure they come around with really, really great memories. When they look back at that vacation, they will say, "Oh my gosh, that was the best vacation we ever had. It was so nice having help." Because a lot of these families are getting criticized by their family and friends. And you're supposed to be going on vacation with your kids. You're going to take a travel nanny. In other words, you're a terrible parent, because it should be all about, that's part of parenthood. That's part of parenthood, all the trials and tribulations. And I get this from my parents. They'll tell me, when they first start out, that this is our first time, and I'll go, you know what? If they had a travel nanny for one time, they would change their mind. But what I hope that my help is going to do is going to help you do the fun things with all your kids. So if two have to be back at the villa, you can go have something with the older ones. Um, you wouldn't have that otherwise. And you and your husband will have a night out to yourself. And,
right.
what a blessing that is, because you have very hectic lives. And, before these kids come, you two, so that's what I'm here for. I encourage it. Go out and, don't worry about me. I can get the kids bathed, whatever, and get to bed. We're fine. um, so understand your parents. Know that your goal is to help them create good memories. Be prepared for the crazy, crazy things that can happen in travel. My boys, my grandsons, I've been traveling with them. It's our third year doing a grandparent vacation. We've done the whole train trip of Gulf America, Grand Canyon. We've done the last year the thing, and the one thing they know is our famous thing. I know, Mimi, don't worry. Because I'm talking about Alaska, it's going to be a really challenge. It's out of their Brooklyn comfort zone. And my grandson said, "But Mimi, it's Alaska. We'll be just fine. It's travel. We got to go with the flow, right? Go with the flow." And I'm going, yes, yes.
Yes.
They're going to be such great guys one of these days. But that's what you have to tell yourself.
Because you have taught them to be self-sufficient, and you have taught them that just go with the flow. When you're on vacation, my brain stays busy all the time, and I had to talk to myself this past weekend. I'm like, you have no schedule,
Right.
so let's go with the flow. Just sit down. Some of the other nannies invited me to come and sit down and watch the street performer, and I was busy. I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to find something for my husband. I'm like, just sit down.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to do until you get on the plane tomorrow? Absolutely not. And it's still going to be there when the man gets through performing in 15 minutes. So I went and I sat down and I enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed the nannies.
Right.
And I was just like, sometimes you just have to stop and stop being so, I got to go here and I
Yeah.
got from here to, and just go with it and stop
Right.
being so much, because I'm a planner.
Right.
And
Well, me too. That's like I'm
no,
planning on this big trip I was telling you about, and Louise is going with us, and she's had a really busy year. And I said, "Can you just let me do it?" And Louise, everybody just say, "Sure, Donna, go do it." And this whole trip was planned in November because I'm a detail person. I'm a planner. I'm also economy because I don't have a lot of money. My airline tickets are paid because they're the miles. Good thing about Travel Nanny, miles. But at the same time, I have to have everything planned out. I don't have to have all the activities, but I have to have hotels. I have to transportation, how we get from here, with the logistics, how long do we stay here? And I do all of that. And I have it all written up in a pamphlet and in a folder. We're good. Um, because the more prepared you are, the more when you get on your vacation, you can let go. And I don't feel like when I'm on vacation, and you don't have to be busy every single second. I mean, that's why, of course, I'm old too. You guys are young, and I'm sure you guys could just be busy every second. But Louise and I are good because we get up and we'll, and Louise is good about thinking about activities more so when we get there. And so we'll be doing things and we'll get up, we get ready, we have our coffee, we do what we want, we relax, we go see, what we want to do. We'll have some lunch, see some more things. And then we come back at 3 o'clock. It's time for our nap and tea. We have our nap, and then at 4:30 we get our tea, and then we're ready to go do some more things. And what we see, and what we don't see, we don't see. But it's vacation. If you have, I mean, every country has so many things to see. Budapest is a huge city. So we'll see the things that we think that appeal to us, that are important at the time, or someone's told us about. Some of my greatest treasure memories was when last year we were in Scotland, Islay, with this little bar, and we met all these locals, and we just sit there all night for about 4 hours and talked. We had so much fun. Next day, we're walking up to go to another distillery, which they think, oh, it's just up the wee hill, Mom. It's just up the wee hill. Wee hill in Scotland is like, Louise, Jim and I are after about 15 minutes, go, when the hell does this hill end? Wee hill, my fanny. So the guy from the pub goes by in his work van. He goes, hi, you remember me? And I said, yeah, sure. He said, where are you going? He said, oh, I'm going up that way. You want to ride? He said, got work stuff everywhere. Sure, we don't care. We'll sit on the floor and drop us up there. But if you don't take time to talk to people and do all that, because you're so busy thinking you got to do this and you got to buy for this, you got to buy for that. You know what? It's you're going to come back with more memories, and even when things go crazy and wrong. Ask Louise one of these days, that we were talking to Louise, say, oh, tell me about the Glasgow fiasco. It's very funny. But what do we think back our memories, we still laugh about it. And
Right.
haven't you ever had something crazy happen on vacation? You worked it all out in the end, and then when you go back, you go, oh my gosh, how did we do that? That was the funniest thing. So even
Yes.
disasters can have some funny, good memories.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So do you have I have run out of time. So do
Okay.
you have any last
Can I demonstrate something?
sure.
Okay. Just in case you should ask. What am I? I love travel gadgets. This is my latest travel gadget that I really love.
Okay.
Everybody did packing cubes. You know what I'm talking about? You pack things in cubes, and you can do. And
Oh yes,
yeah, there's
yes.
some
I
of
have several of those little
yeah,
little
some of
zip
those little
cubes.
packing cubes just take up less. They just take up more room than they solve the problem. But this one is called a compression cube. All right. See if you can see that. See how wide it is? It's not terribly
Mhm.
big though, right? And I have 3 skirts, 2 dresses, 4 leggings, um, a couple other things. All right. Now the good thing first, what you would do any good travel thing, you're just going to zip it up. But guess what? That's going to take up a lot of room in your suitcase, right? So you
Right.
go to the next zipper, which is so cool. I love these things. And you start zipping the second zip, which starts pushing out the air, and it starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And now look at my little bag.
Wow.
Now I still have the 3 skirts, 2 dresses, 4 leggings, and a couple other things in here, and 3 tops. This is called my dress cube because everything in here would be go to something dressy. You can see through it, which is nice. But I do things in sections. So if it's a sports thing, it'd be in another cube. But when I got to dress up say on the cruise, on the river cruise, I know this. I don't have to go through my whole suitcase. It's all in here. Can you imagine how much easier that is to pack in your suitcase than to pack all those outfits separately?
Yes.
The other thing is, one more thing, because I know your time is running, but this is my fun part. All right. How many of you ever take jewelry when you travel? You take jewelry sometimes?
I, I
Have
do
we
all the
not
time.
explored about every single way you put your necklace through straws, you do blah, blah, blah. But I'm terrible because I don't wear a lot of jewelry and I have a tendency to lose it, so I don't get anything good. But this one, I love it because it's called the flam. made in America. You know, so when you buy it, you're buying an American product. But what it is, it's got little individual pouches. So you can put your earrings and a necklace and a set into one, and then it just all zips up. And I got this thing up. And the nice thing about it, once again, what's it going to take in your suitcase? Hardly any room, but you can see through it. You know what jewelry you have. So you can have your earrings, your necklace, or your bracelet, or whatever you do.
Okay.
And
What
it's
is that called?
This e-bag has, it's called the Flan, Flan, the Flan bags.
Land bags.
It's really good. And also, the thing that's nice about it, you can actually even fold it if you had to put it like, because you don't want to put your jewelry in your big suitcase, right? You want to throw it in your, you know, whatever you're taking on the plane, right? So it's so
Right.
small, it wouldn't fit in there or lie flat. It's made in America, so you're doing an American product. One last thing, and I'm done. Because these are my thing, I can't help myself. All right. So my husband just tells me I need to go to a, you know, travel accessory alcoholics type of thing. But this is another Flam bag. Now we all have these gallon bags and we use Ziploc like crazy, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you know, like things, I like this because see how it kind of goes out like that? But it's a really nice vinyl bag. You can see through it. And this is a gallon size and they have quarts and whatever. But I like the gallon size because I can put a wet suitcase, wet bathing suit in it. Or you
Yeah.
can actually put like suntan lotion, things that take up a lot of room because they're big and they're round. You can't put them in your carry-on because they're over that 3.5 thing. They'll fit in here and then you don't have to worry about them leaking. And they're nice also because, you know, if you can put an ice pack in here if you're in a hotel or something, you put ice in it, take it, you know, if you had to hurt yourself or something. It's very multiple. In other words, you can use it for a lot of different things. The most important thing, unlike a Ziploc, is that it spreads out. So the bottles do fit.
Right.
And that's
Right.
by the same
Okay.
people, and it's called Flan. And they're all made in America.
Flan. Is that flan with a PH or flan
No,
with an
do
F?
F as in Frank, Lan.
Okay. I'm gonna look those up.
Yeah, and that's, and
Like,
there I can show it to you right
my
there. You
husband
can see it.
what? Okay. Okay.
So
Flan.
FLANNA bags, Flana.
L-A, flan. FLANNA.
People are
Flannel
always
bag.
saying, you know, oh, nothing's made in America. Yeah, they are. Maybe you're going to pay a few pennies more. I wait till they go on sale. I wait till I have some points or coupons from, you know, from Amazon or from eBags or something like that. But, you know, I do feel like I'll pay $1 or $2 more for that product versus another one because I know it is made in the USA.
Cool. Thank you so much for your tips and your tricks and all
Yeah.
this good stuff. And I have several things that I'm going to go and look up
Okay.
and find because my husband travels more than I do,
Okay.
but I know that he'll be able to use some of this stuff too.
And I will be on my blog too. If you forget about what it is, go to my Facebook travel one, the Traveling Nanny LLC, and you'll see these in demo and you'll see them listed and you'll see why I use them. The other
Okay.
thing is
And
I'm
type that
hoping
in,
that when you post something back on your thing, I gave you that website. And there is a website
yeah,
that I did, and hopefully Angela or I'll try to post it. And it's all about if you want to become a travel nanny. These are some of the just some practical tips or some practical reality. And then you're always free to, anybody's always free to email me questions.
yay. Thank you
Okay.
so much
You're welcome.
for helping us and for giving us some funny stories and some tricks and some tips on how to deal with the kids and how to travel when you get to the airport, the whole kit and caboodle. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
because I'm going to be traveling a lot this year with Ask the Nanny, so I'm going to use some of these tips for myself.
Yep.
I need some of these for myself. But thank you again, and thank you everyone for joining us. And before you leave, hit the share button so that your friends and um, your other nannies in your groups on your pages so that they can tune in and they can watch the replay of this so that they can get the same tips and tricks because they may travel more than you do.
Yeah.
Or share the traveling nanny the website so that they can go and get some tips and tricks. But I'm going to go and look up these flannel bags
Okay.
because they look interesting.
They
I
are
like
cool.
that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you everybody for showing up. I appreciate it.
All right. You all have a good night.
Okay.
All right.